G'day guys, welcome back to another video on the channel, and today we're going to be going over sort of round 2 and where I think all teams sit after round 2. A bit of a power rankings if you sort of call it that, because I really don't know what else to call it. Video idea that I sort of want to do at the end of every month. So right now it's the end of March at the round 2. I'll do another one of these maybe at the end of April, round 7-ish, and sort of see where teams have shifted or risen or fallen from now until then. So I might do a few of these throughout the year. Let me know if you want to see more, because I think it's a pretty interesting video idea to sort of go over at the end of a round. So let's get right into it, and we'll start off with where I think number 1 is, and that's probably Melbourne. They're the premiership, well, they're still probably the premiership favourites, the reigning premiers. They kicked off where they left off round 1, where they beat the Dogs pretty comfortably. They didn't have the greatest game against the Suns. It was a bit of a scrappy, gritty affair, but the good side still, you know, get the job done. And I didn't think Gold Coast were that bad in that game either. So I think Melbourne are probably number 1. They're the team to beat at the moment. I think Brisbane probably number 2. It's between Brisbane or the Swans, honestly, but I think Brisbane just that little bit above the Swans. They've got a bit more experience. They've made the top 4 last 3 or so years. They haven't played outstanding their first 2 outings against the Power or the Bombers, but there's still 2 sides who are probably the 2 most disappointing sides this year, who did finish in the top 8 last year. So without playing remarkably, they still got the job done, and they look like a complete side. They should be pushing for a granny or winning the premiership this year. Third, I'll go Sydney. They again look like a really classy side. Well, not really experienced. They've got a good actual mix of experience and youth, but they are a really good side. They're going to be up there for a very long time, I would assume. They're just a really exciting team to watch. They just play fast footy, move the ball quickly. They have a lot of avenues up forward. They're a good side, and I think right now they're probably the 3rd best side in the comp if we're talking about power rankings. Now, 4th, it's a bit of a tough one, because all other sides they can put there had losses in round 2 and had pretty bad ones, like Geelong, the Dogs, Port. I don't think we can put anyone like a Carlton or a Hawthorn or a Collingwood, definitely like those sides in at 4th after round 2, because the power rankings isn't what I've seen just off 2020. We're also, you know, taking form from 2021 into account. You know, how the teams will most likely sit at the end of the year, sort of. So I think if I had to pick any side, I'll go Geelong. I think Geelong, we can't take what we saw against the Essendon in round 1. They look really nice. I think Sydney just were a bit too classy. It was their night. It was really their night at the end of the day. They had Buddy Franklin's 1,000th goal, all the celebrations. So you can sort of let the Cats off on that one. Even though it was quite disappointing, just how they play, they were outclassed. I think they bounced back, and they should beat Collingwood next week. Next up, 5th to 8th in the power rankings. I don't know if I put Bulldogs in or a Carlton in, because right now Carlton look like they could almost make the top 4. But is it a bit too harsh for the Dogs? Well, I'll be honest with you, the Dogs and the Power, they don't look that great, so I'm going to put Carlton in. They look really impressive right now. They look like one of the best sides in the comp after round 2. But I still don't know if they'll sustain their form. Right now, though, they beat Richmond and Bulldogs, who could probably both make the top 8. So I don't know if this is a bit too high for the Blues, but you know, they look like a really good side. And if they can string a few wins together, beat Hawthorn and Gold Coast, they'll start 4-0, and they're going to probably stay at around this mark. So Carlton 5th for now. I might change that. I think the Dogs in 6th. I think they did finish 5th at the end of the last year, but I think they were probably the 2nd, 3rd best side in the comp. But I have them sliding a few ranks down after their poor losses against Carlton and Melbourne. I know they could easily start 0-3, which sees me having them in 6th at the moment, because I don't know if a side that starts 0-3, I can't really see him making the top 4, and it's going to be hard to make the top 8 even. So I'll have him there right now. I don't know if we can have Hawthorn in the 8 yet. I don't think Hawthorn are a better side than Port. I think Port have to be above the Hawks. Richmond, I still don't think they're better than Port, even though Port were bitterly disappointing. I think Port still make the 7th spot, even though they were absolutely atrocious. Worst performance of any side so far after round 2. I haven't seen enough from all these other sides for me to still put them above the Power. So yeah, they've got to turn things around. If they lose to Adelaide next week, alarm bells down at Alberton for the Power. And sliding to the 8, I have probably Richmond. I probably have Richmond. I just can trust them a little bit more than the Hawks, even though I don't think either side will do amazing, particularly the Tigers. I don't think they'll make the 8 this year. But right now, that win against the Giants sort of proves that they still have a bit in them. You know, without Dusty and Grimes, I think they're still going to be a pretty good side this year. But I will put a Hawks in 9th, even though I don't think they'll end up finishing 9th on the ladder. You never know with Hawthorn. They're a sort of side that, in 2018, they made the top 4 after finishing like 10th in 2017. But they can for sure make the finals. I can see it happening. The Hawks are a dark horse this year. If they can pinch 1 or 2 wins in the next few games, they're 4-1. They're in a good position after that really good win against Port. So I think 9th for now probably solidifies the Hawks in the power rankings. Now the Giants, even though they have played pretty poorly and they've started 0-2, they haven't been as nowhere near as poor as teams like Essendon, who have made the finals last year. So I think we'll put them in 10th, the Giants. But yeah, they weren't great against the Tigers, even though they had a couple injuries themselves. You'd expect them to put more of an effort in that, and they were favourites to win the game. So I still have them in 10th because they were really good against a top quality side like the Swans in round 1, and I still think they have enough talent to make the finals this year. They're still easily a side that could, if they wanted to, make the top even 4, but they've got to turn things around right now. So in 10th is probably where I'll have them at the moment. Saints in 11th after that win, I think. I think the Saints, they haven't been too impressive, particularly against the Pies. They were quite poor, but that win against the Dockers, shows a bit of spirit for the Saints. I know it wasn't the best win of all time. That both sides weren't at their best, particularly the Dockers, but I think St Kilda, they showed a bit against the Dockers there, and we can get a few. Obviously, there's a few things we can improve on, but I think right now the Saints would be in this position. I think they go up 1 or 2 spots after round 1. It's their first win at Optus as well. Do I trust Collingwood? They've been quite impressive this year. They genuinely could finish around this 9th to 12th mark. I had them finishing bottom, and I still see them maybe slipping to bottom 4, but not finishing last, not finishing bottom 2. They've looked quite impressive. For now, I see them just at the end of 12th. Better. In fact, I'll have them 13th because I think Freo, honestly, they deserve to be 12th. Even though Freo, for 100%, they haven't been as good as Collingwood so far this year. Freo have a better list, they have better quality, and they showed a lot more last year than Collingwood did. So I think Freo, they can finish 12th for now, but they've been very poor. They could easily be 0-2. They can thank someone like a Heath Chapman for not being 0-2. So Freo 12th for now, but I could easily make the swap with Collingwood, honestly. But I'll have them there. I think Essendon have to be 14th, but 13th or 14th. It's a bit weird saying this because everyone thought they were going to make the 8 this year, but bloody hell, they've been disappointing. Got smashed against the Cats, got done by the Blinds. They didn't look good. They could start 0-3 because they got Melbourne next week at the G. And then alarm bells will be going off for the Bombers, really, if they start 0-3. That's not a good start for them at all. So for now, we'll put them here. But I think 14th, it sounds harsh, but honestly, they're not a great side. They look like a 14th ranked side at the moment, or even they look like a bottom 4 team right now, currently. But I have them there for now. I think Gold Coast 15th. They look quite impressive, but other teams around them, like Collingwood and Hawthorn, they've looked as good as the Suns, if not better than them. So for now, we'll have them 15th. I guess we'll see what they can do against the Giants. If they can beat the Giants, then we're definitely seeing the Suns rise a few ranks. But 15th for now, they're not a bottom 3 side. And if anything, I don't think they're a bottom 4 side. I think they'll finish above 15th spot. They won't finish bottom 4 right now, but we'll see what happens with the Suns. But they were very gallant against the Ds in that game, and they were pretty good against the Eagles. They beat them quite comfortably. So I think right now it's safe to say Adelaide, North and West Coast are probably the 3 worst sides in it at the moment. And even though West Coast lost against North on Sunday, I'm having them in 16th because they fielded a waffle side against both Gold Coast and especially North. And to be within the 2 sides who aren't going to be great this year, it's still a really mighty effort. Like, if they had their full strength side, the Eagles, they would have beaten North quite comfortably. They're probably going to finish bottom 4 because even if they did, get players back, I just don't see them doing much. I don't rate the Eagles at the moment, but they've been quite gallant, and I'm sure Eagles fans can be a bit content with the way they played their first 2 rounds. North, they should have beaten them by more, so it's between North and Adelaide. I think right now we'll put North in 18th. Currently, even though they're 0-2, I think we'll put Adelaide last. I guess due to the fact that they did lose and North won, even though it wasn't the greatest win. Adelaide, they don't look great. They lost by 7 goals against Collingwood, a side who finished bottom 2 last year. They weren't in that game. And against Freo, a side that just didn't play that great at all. They, losing to Freo, who, I'll be honest with you, Adelaide didn't do too bad, particularly in that 3rd and 4th quarter. But again, they're 0-2, and they would have looked at the fixture going, geez, we could have started 2-0. But I think that's fair enough. So right now, I'm struggling on whether or not Collingwood and Essendon should be swapped. But from what we've seen, Collingwood look like a far superior side than the Bombers. So we'll give them benefit of the doubt and we'll have them above the Bombers. Bombers 14th. They want to turn things around. I still think they can make the 8 this year, but they've got to turn things around. Hawthorn look impressive. Port don't look great. St Kilda and Freo, they look a meh so far early on. Same with the Giants. And Sydney, they look amazing. So do the Blues. So there we have it. Those are my power rankings after round 2. I'm probably going to get a lot of people disagreeing with me in the comments. I honestly don't know where exactly I should put these sides. I think definitely these aren't going to be perfect. So if I get them wrong, let me know where you have all these sides 1st to 18th. But I do want to do these sort of videos at the end of every month. So expect a few more of these videos out throughout the year because they're pretty easy to make and they're quite interesting. I don't mind making them. So again, if you guys enjoyed, leave a like. If you're new to the channel, and you want more of this sort of AFL content such as tipping videos, which will be out on the Tuesdays, which is tomorrow, subscribe to the channel then. I think more than 50% of people watching are not subscribed. So if you can do that, that'd be great. But yeah, thank you all for watching the video. Again, if you disagree, let me know. And I'll see you soon in my next one.